demain, yo rete ak la peine, bouleversement, et puis chargé ak dépenses yo pas préparé pour yo, c'est ça vle quitter pour famille ou yo. Prix enterrement yo a augmenté chaque année. Et puis si ou pas planifié d'avance, c'est famille qui pral payer conséquences yo, ni émotionnel ni financièrement. Kounia, Kabaye Rivero a offri jusqu'à 20% rabais sous pré-planification dans tout cimetière Miami Dedio, tant qu'au Soften Memorial Park sous 151e suite là ak Dead North dans Opaloka. C'est chansou pour prendre responsabilité pour protéger famille contre désordre ak fado décision dernière minute yo parce que l'or finale li ka trop tard. Relé jodi a dans 786 253 0211 786 253 0211. Assirez place ou avant prio monter encore au soir ou bral quitter famille gérer situation nan misère.
Chat with Kattt, chaque mardi from 6 o'clock to 6:30 p.m. discussing finance, mortgage, assurance, funeral care sur WSRF 1580 AM and 99.5 FM avec Kathleen Bao. Nous là pour connecter avec toutes les ressources financières qu'Apedeo grandi.
Good afternoon, bonsoir tout le monde. You are listening to another installment of Chat with Kattt. This is our third installment for Women's History Month, and I have a very special guest. All of my guests have been special, but this is a really, really, really special guest because she's actually my friend, and her journey is so inspirational. I'm very proud to have her on my show. This special guest is a seasoned legal professional with over 2 decades of experience in Florida's legal system, a University of Miami School of Law graduate. She began her career as an assistant state attorney and later served as a legal advisor for the Miami-Dade Police Department. In 2022, she was appointed as General Magistrate for the Probate Division of Florida's 11th Judicial Circuit. Passionate about community service, she actively supports organizations like Legal Services of Greater Miami, Women of Tomorrow, and Teen Court. Let's welcome my very, very special guest, Miss Nike, for short, Adebayo. Thank you so much for joining the show, Miss Nike.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this.
You're so welcome. So I know I only have you for such a short period of time, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into the questions. So again, welcome to Chat with Kattt. And let's get to it.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. All right. Can you share a little bit about your background, aside from what I've already said to our listeners, and what inspired you to pursue a career in law?
Absolutely. So I am a wife, been married almost 15 years, a mother. My son is 10 years old, so he keeps me very active and on my toes. And currently I'm serving in the position, as you stated, as a general magistrate. Originally from Chicago, moved here from law school. And as they say, the rest is history. And as far as what inspired me, I believe it was the 8th grade class in social studies. I found out about our legal system, and I said, you know what? I want to be an attorney. I think at that point in 8th grade is when I made that decision. I think I wanted to be a judge first, but then realized I had to be an attorney first for about 5 years before I could become a judge.
Okay, awesome. Growing up, were there any strong female influences who shaped your journey?
Absolutely. So my grandma, my aunts, and my mom, they all worked hard in their respected careers, and I knew I wanted to do the same.
Nice. What challenges did you face as a woman navigating the legal system, and how did you overcome them?
So in the legal field, our largest population are men. So when a woman enters the field, the chips are already, kind of stacked against her. Then add the fact on that I'm a black woman, I had to push through many more barriers. Many times your professors and classmates don't think you'll make it through law school, let alone the bar exam. So there's a lot of challenges. But once you're in the profession, sometimes you're often overlooked. And I can't tell you how many times I showed up to court, and many of the people in court thought, I was staff, clerk, court reporter, anything but the attorney on the case. So you just have to, a lot of times they say, I can show you better than I can tell you. So I just kind of had to prove myself in the profession.
That's awesome. What motivated you to transition from practicing law to become a general magistrate?
So as you stated, I worked in the state attorney's office as a prosecutor for about 10 years, police legal advisor, and defense attorney. So I felt I had a well-rounded career enough to become a judge. And after running two unsuccessful campaigns, another magistrate encouraged me to apply to be a magistrate. So I said, why not? So I really enjoy being a general magistrate.
What exactly does that entail, a general magistrate in the probate division?
So a general magistrate is what we call quasi-judicial. So I can't order anybody to do anything. I do reports and recommendations. So the judges in Miami-Dade County, it's about 123 judges, a population of about 2.5 million people who live here. So the caseload is high.
Wow.
So they have general magistrates to assist the judges so we can bring that caseload down. So the judges will refer cases to the general magistrate. To the community, we look like judges. We wear robes. We have a courtroom. We conduct hearings. We have a gavel if necessary. But what we do is really the same as what the judges do. We just really assist the judges so they can do their job better and serve more people in the community. And probate is just the division of the court that I work in. So I'm just assigned to the probate division, and I assist the probate judges in their work.
Okay. In your experience, how has the legal system or legal field evolved in terms of gender equality?
That's a good one. So the legal field has evolved in that, nobody's surprised to see, women attorneys. Nobody's surprised that, we own law firms and that we do a lot to the community. So it has evolved, but there's still parts of the profession where you can see that it's a man's world, and women just have to break through, different barriers to be noticed, to be seen, to be heard. And we still have, gender inequality in the pay. Many private law firms still pay the women less than their colleagues.
Wow. You ran for judgeship in the 11th Circuit Court. What lessons did you take from that campaign?
There was many lessons. So I ran 1 year for county court judge, and then I ran the next year for circuit court judge. And what you realize is really not even about campaigning, what I've learned about myself, but what I learned about our voting population. So our voting population obviously is much smaller than the residents who live here. So that's on us to get more of the people registered to vote and then get them to vote. A lot of people don't realize that they can vote for the judges. The judges are at the end of the ballot. So they don't even fill out the whole ballot and go to the end to see, hey, there's some judges on here that I can vote for. And often they don't go out to the primary to see that the judges are on the ballot. Because if they wait to that November election for the general election to vote for the president or the governor, the judges are gone. The judges have already been voted on in the primary. So it's more of an educational thing that we have to get out there and educate our community that you can vote for your judges and that they are on the ballot. And you need to be registered to vote.
Okay. What are the biggest legal challenges facing women today, and how do you address them in your work?
So I think, as I stated earlier, it's the less pay, than counterparts in private law firms. I've always worked for the state or the county, so we get paid whatever they give us. Men or women, we're equal. We get paid by the state, get paid by the county, or you may work for a city. So what I am is a part of many women organizations that make sure they address inequality in pay. So I'm just very supportive of the organizations that actually can make a difference in the legal field.
What advice would you give young women pursuing law or leadership roles in male-dominated industries?
Not to give up. That if this is what they want to do, you want to pursue your law degree, you want to become a lawyer, then you do that. And a law degree doesn't always equal you have to be an attorney. You can be a professor, open a law firm. You can use your law degree for a number of careers. But my main advice is not to give up.
That's a good one. Can you share a case or a moment in your career that was particularly meaningful or transformative?
I think for me, becoming a magistrate, because that's kind of at the top of your career. So I've, been practicing, like you said, over 2 decades. I've done the work in court, been a litigator, been an advisor, advising police departments, and defending people who are losing rights to their children. So becoming a general magistrate is, for me, like the top. Not too sure if I'm going to run another campaign, if I'm going to become a, judge, or I can also apply for appointment to the governor to become a judge. But just becoming a general magistrate and actually doing that before my father passed was a big deal to me, because he raised, 7 strong women and, 2 boys, and just him seeing that, hey, his daughter, to him became a judge was, one of the best feelings for me and meaningful for me.
That's nice. March is Women's History Month. What does this month mean to you personally?
Personally, it means that we get to highlight women. We get to show how much of an impact they've made on our community, on our legal profession, and frankly, on the world. Gets to show and highlight their accomplishments and everything they've achieved this month. So, of course, as a woman, this is one of my most exciting months that, we get to recognize other women in the profession.
Now, I know you mentioned that your family, your mother and some of the other women in your family are strong pillars of influence to you, but are there any women that you admire in the legal profession or beyond?
Absolutely. So I have a few. So our former Florida Supreme Court Justice, Peggy Quince. Mm-hmm. She's the first African-American to serve on the Florida State Supreme Court. Gwendolyn Cherry Sawyer was our first African-American to attend UM School of Law, first to practice law in Miami-Dade County, and first Black woman to serve as a legislator for the state of Florida. And I was also a past president of the Gwen S. Cherry Black Women Lawyers Association, organization that helps women in our legal field, particularly Black women. Shirley Chisholm, our first Black woman to be elected to United States Congress, first Black candidate to run for president. And last but not least, Ketanji Brown Jackson, our first Black woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. So there's more out there, but those are the ones that I wanted to highlight in speaking to you, for those that influenced me in my legal career.
How could women better advocate for themselves in legal matters, whether in family law, employment, or business?
So this one I thought long and hard about, and that my main thing is that your appearance is everything. So for us, we're doing a lot of Zoom court. So people think Zoom court is, we don't have to show up. We don't have to give the best version of ourselves. But wherever you are, in person, on Zoom, traveling on an airplane, just as a woman, we need to always look our best. We have to dress like we're going to an interview to be professional. You don't have to be loud to be heard or seen. Just put your best foot forward and speak. Ask for what you want, and for me, I document everything. So if you're going to court on your own, is what we call a pro se and representing yourself, you just need, to look your best and to advocate, to say what it is you need, what it is you're arguing for.
What initiatives or mentorship programs have you been involved in to support women in law?
So, like I stated earlier, I was a past president of the Gwen S. Cherry Black Women Lawyers Association. I am a part of the Florida Association for Women Lawyers. We have a Wilkie D. Ferguson Junior Bar Association. So there's many organizations out there that support women that I have been involved in, and that anyone should get involved in, women or men, in the legal profession, because there's many organizations out there to assist you in your legal career.
Have you faced gender bias in your career? If so, how do you handle it?
There's so many, male attorneys that when they see you coming into the courtroom again, they think you're everything but the attorney. And so one even patted me on my head.
Oh, my God.
And so that one I kind of lost it, had to call my supervisor in for that one. And, it's the honey, it's the sweetheart, it's the babe. And it's just like, I address you as Mr. So-and-so, I would like to be addressed the same. So you just kind of have to, let people know, who you are, why you're there, and what's going on. And just, you kind of teach one person at a time. It depends, how you treat them, how they treat you, then you in turn, let them know. So, but I think there's more that can be done with that. There should be more training for the men and the women of, how to just coexist and work with each other.
If you could change one thing about the legal system to better serve women, what would it be?
I think that's it. I think it's more training. It's more training for the women on how to handle those situations, because I'm sure I could have handled my situation better when he patted me on my head, or, and here Florida's different too. It's a lot of kissing on the cheek and, the hugging and stuff. I'm from Chicago. I shake your hand. I say hello. So it's just a different cultural dynamic, right? So you just kind of have to talk to other women. I also mentor, young women in this profession, or young women, like you said, Women of Tomorrow in high school. I do career days. It's just a lot of, talking and just getting your knowledge and experience out there to be able to understand and navigate, the field.
How do you define your success in your career and in life?
For me, it's setting your goals. So once you've set whatever goals are for yourself and you've achieved those, or if you say, in my career, this is where I want to be. So it's really just setting your goals and achieving them, whatever they are. But to me, that's success, having goals, achieving them, and, just moving on.
What do you hope your legacy will be as a legal professional?
So in our legal profession, your reputation is everything. So what I want to be known for is having a good reputation. That when people say, hey, did you know there's a saying out there that says a good lawyer doesn't necessarily know the law, they know the judge. So I want that reputation to be like, if I'm going before, magistrate out of bio, or, attorney out of bio showing up in court, that she has a good reputation, that she's going to, have read the document. She's going to know the law. She's going to know, what to argue before the judge, or I need to know what to argue before her. So your reputation is everything. So I just want to be able to leave behind that I had a good reputation as an attorney, or a good reputation as a magistrate.
What keeps you motivated on tough days?
So I'm religious. So every morning I pray. I pray that I don't have a tough day. I pray for a nice, calm day. But I also know how to adjust and move as the day goes along. So I'll always start off, with a smile. I'll always go through a case like that. But if there's things that happen that shift that energy, then, I just do my best to bring myself to the most positive energy. So, and then after a case or after something that's pretty tough, I'll probably box breathe or try to decompress, or I'll make a phone call and I will vent and share with somebody else who can understand the struggle. But I always try to bring it back to, a good place, a good energy, a good focus.
What books or podcasts or resources would you recommend to women looking to grow professionally?
Books, podcasts, or resources. So I enjoy reading autobiographies. So there's a couple autobiographies of Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, and Ketanji Brown just wrote a good one. So I like to find somebody that motivates me and that I can emulate. So reading their autobiographies are places that I can see their struggles, learn what they've done to overcome them, and then implement them in my life.
What is the best way for young professionals to find mentorship in law or any industry?
Networking, to go out to events. So many times I've met a lot of young people, and they're like, oh, I'd like you to mentor me. Oh, I want to come see you in court, and they've never followed up. They've never emailed back, or they've never called. So you need to network and keep connections, because what I've found in the legal field is not necessarily what you know, it's who you know. So you being able to make those phone calls and say, hey, I need an internship. Hey, I need a clerkship. Hey, ask for what you want and find people that are in those positions to either give it to you, or I then can in turn find somebody else to say, hey, judge, this person likes this. This person wants this. This person, it's all about connecting. A lot of people are people connectors and will put you in the right position with the right person to make happen what you want in your legal career.
Okay. So I have a few minutes before we end, and I wanted you to just touch a little bit about probate guardianship. I'm a big, huge fan, and I would say I'm an evangelist, and always telling people, listen, man, get your trust together, get your affairs in order. Me being in death care.
Very good.
So I've already had an attorney talk about trust wills. For the living, for the dead, for the disabled. You're at the end stage. You're like at the end of the process. Can you give a little bit of insight?
Absolutely. So the two parts of probate that I do are incapacities and guardianship.
Mm-hmm.
So incapacities happen because the person may not have, they have dementia, they have Alzheimer's, they've had an accident, so they have maybe brain trauma, and they can't do things for themselves anymore. They can't take care of themselves physically, or they can't take care of themselves financially. So usually a loved one, a family member comes to the court and files a petition to say, hey, I need some help with this person. They then are 3 doctors that are appointed. They speak to the person in person, and they come tell the court that, yes, they need a guardian because they're incapacitated. There's a plenary guardian, which is the whole person and property, or there's a limited, which may be just the person, not the property, or the property or not the person. And that happens because we don't have our affairs in order, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 legal documents, really, that you need before you get into your trust, wills, and estates, which is a power of an attorney. That can be a durable power of attorney for your finances, somebody that when you can't make that decision for yourself, you have already told the court, you've told, people, I want, for say, Kattt to be my person that handles my finances when I can't. The second part is a health surrogate document that says if I'm in the hospital, if I can't make decisions for myself, my medical care, I want Kattt then to be that person. Because if you don't make those decisions for yourself, the court is then going to have to be forced to make those decisions to say, okay, well, your crazy Uncle Jared has come forward, and he's the person who's going to make the decisions for your money and for your health. And if you don't want that to happen, you want Kattt, then you need to tell somebody in a power of attorney for your finances and a health surrogate for your health. So those are 2 main documents that you can do very easily off a Rocket Lawyer, off of just, Google, before you even get into your trust, wills, and estates, which is something to do as well, but the main 2 documents you need are that power of attorney and that healthcare surrogacy. Then once a guardian is appointed, they have to now file documents every year. They have to file documents about your health, and they have to file documents about your finances. And they also have to get an attorney. So if there's a lot of money somewhere, that money's being depleted by that person who's the guardian, and the guardian has to hire an attorney for those documents every year. So if you wanted that money to go certain places, it's now going to be going for your care through the court system. So all these things can be avoided, your capacity and your guardian, if you just do 2 documents, really, for your care.
I'm not sure if this is something that you could expound you can expand on. So,
Okay.
the whole thing with Wendy Williams and her conservatorship. Are you able to comment on that or no?
I can. I don't know. So every state is different, right? She's in New York.
Uh-huh.
So, and I believe, too, before her, we had the whole thing with Britney Spears, who I believe
Right.
was in, California.
Mm-hmm.
So in her case, what I believe is that a bank said that she needs somebody. In our case in Florida, I've never had a bank come to court to say this person needs, some type of help. So it's a little different. In Florida, the people who come forward to try to, help are usually family members with good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have I seen some family members without good intentions, like that uncle I talked about? Yes. But for the most part, people with the good intentions wanting to look after your health and your money usually, is what I see. And that's what the court's there for, too, to guard against people with the bad intentions or the people who want to hurt the, elderly or hurt people who can't take care of themselves. The court is there to kind of safeguard that. So for her conservatorship, I'm not too sure exactly, who told the court this is what she needed, but her situation is very sticky. It's very sticky. But what I'm happy for that I see is that she's out of that, and that she's doing better health-wise.
Okay. And lastly, can you leave us with a powerful quote or mantra that inspires you?
So what I ran the campaign on, what I live my life by, is a quote by Shirley Chisholm that says, our service in life, the service that we do, the service that we give to others, is the rent we pay for living on this earth. So I want to leave this place better than how I found it. So the service that I do, whether I'm knocking on doors and making sure women who don't have insurance get a breast mammogram, whether I'm talking to teens and being a part of teen court to help juveniles not have a record and to make sure they stay out of trouble, anything I do is a part of service that I want to impact the community. I'm a servant leader. I'm here to serve others. And I've always lived my life and ran the campaign with that mantra: service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this earth.
That's a good one. How can people connect with you or learn more about your work?
So my information is on the 11th Judicial Circuit website. You go to the probate division, and there is my information on there. I'm also on social media as GM Adebayo on Instagram and Facebook. And, that's how you can connect with me. As long as it's not legal questions or legal advice, I can assist, I can mentor, I can put people, in the right positions. If you want me to come educate and talk, career days, things like that, just let me know. But I'm here to assist as much as I can.
That's great. I want to thank you so much, Nikkei, for being on the show, Chat with Kattt. I know you're a very busy person. As you said that you were specifically appointed to ease the workload of judges. So thank you so much for everything that you do, especially, I could say we could share the same industry. You're at the end game of the whole legal process with trust and guardianship and probate, and then obviously the family will see me before they see you. So thank you again for everything that you do for the County of Dade, what you do for those families who may not have who aren't sure what the probate process entails. And because of your servant leadership, your heart for servitude, that's what I want to say, you really do make a difference in our community, instead of just, collecting a check and just, coming home. So thank you again, Nikkei, for being on the show.
Thank you, Kat. I appreciate it.
You're most welcome. All right. So for Women's History Month, I always like to give a special shout out to all of our guests that has come on so far. But I want to give a shout out to you, and I also want to give you guys a special gift. I want to give you guys the gift of planning ahead, planning your forever home, planifier pour your last dernier fête or funérailles. I'm giving you guys 20% off, 20% of any cemetery in Miami-Dade County. Si vous voulez aller dans Southern Memorial en 151, ma bao 20% rabais pour n'importe espace à terre ou mausolée. Also, if you're interested in Dade North on 135th Street, I can also give you 20% off of any ground space, whether it's a single or a double espace. Again, this special is running until the end of this month, until 11:59 at night. So please feel free to call me, 786-253-0211, 786-253-0211, 785-253-0211, 786-253-0211. You are listening to Chat with Kattt on WSRF 1580 AM and streaming on YouTube and now Spotify. We look forward to you coming on next week or listening next week to our final guest for Women's History Month.